So welcome back to Favorite Friday. For the second case for the second case for this week, we are going over to Indiana. This case is kind of crazy because our killer apparently pretends to be like a CPS worker and somehow found out that our victim apparently was dealing with CPS. How she even found out, she never actually revealed it. So this is, I guess, like a future warning for anybody that's dealing with CPS. Make sure you verify that person's actually working with CPS before you let them like in your house, and especially before you leave with them. And I'm not trying to victim blame, but like some of this, it's crazy how people will pretend to have such titles to basically get what they want. And so, as I get to the story, you'll see what I mean. And so with that being said, I'm quit my rambling, and let's go get started. We're going to start off with Samantha. Samantha Fleming was born on July 8th, 1991. Her parents had divorced when she was 1. When she's a teenager, doesn't say what age, but apparently she gives birth to a daughter named Juliana. She signs over legal custody to her mother because she believed, as a teenager, that she wasn't mature enough to take care of Juliana, which you gotta give her credit for at least admitting she wasn't mature enough. So then she apparently meets a guy named Steven, on a social media site when she's like 21. They apparently are off and on. She gets pregnant by another man, but names the child Stephen Jr., and apparently Stephen is okay with it. So then apparently the two get into kind of like a domestic abuse situation. Police are called, Stephen Jr. is taken away. Samantha, of course, would beg to keep Stephen Jr., but he was put into CPS custody. The two of them would get married in an attempt to get Stephen Jr. back. The domestic charges apparently were dropped once they got married, but apparently still wasn't enough. She had to prove that it actually was a safe environment before we bring this child back. And so then, okay, well, marriage is not enough. File for divorce. So that's what she does. So now that she's divorced and her child is CPS custody, she then moves to Anderson, Indiana, which is kind of where our story takes place. She meets a guy named Rainey Stanley in 2014 on a dating site. She says, look, I might be pregnant, and it's by this other dude. The baby is born, and apparently Rainey is raising the kid as his. So the way that it was worded, it seemed like the kid was not his, but he still raised the kid as if it was his. So I guess good on him. So then in March of 2015, Samantha gives birth again to a daughter named Serenity. So then on April 4th, 2015, there was a woman by the name of Geraldine Jones who apparently called Samantha's mother, so not Samantha herself, but Samantha's mother, and was like, hey, I'm a CPS worker for your daughter's case, and I need her phone number. Samantha's mother had apparently thought nothing of it, knew Stephen Jr. was in CPS, and gave him Samantha's number, and apparently she would let her know that the number that called her apparently was like a blocked number, so I assume like star 67, so she couldn't like retrace the number back, which seems kind of shady, but okay. And so then she calls Samantha to see if there's anything you need for the baby, like diapers, wipes, anything a baby you normally need to take care of a baby. So Geraldine Jones, because she's an important character in the story, she was born November 9th, 1978. And apparently she was the youngest of 3. She goes on to Purdue State University and becomes a teacher. She then becomes like a principal shortly afterwards. She then changes jobs again, decides I'm going to be a deputy assessor. She then meets this guy named Randy. Apparently they get together. She takes a homesick pregnancy test, so I imagine the ones that you pee on at home, and that test says she's pregnant. She goes to the hospital, I guess, to confirm like with blood work that she is in fact pregnant, because you can't just rely on those tests. And the blood work said not only are you not pregnant, but apparently she found out she can't carry a child to full term. So obviously, as you can imagine, she's devastated. She would then announce apparently in the spring of 2015 that she was pregnant with twins. And the family apparently was happy, but they got suspicious because apparently she wasn't growing as you normally would when you're pregnant, apparently. And also, she originally told them she was due in December, and then apparently moved the due date to March. Like, it's one thing if you're off, if your due date changes by 1 or 2 weeks, because apparently that's normal. But if you change it, like, from a distance of, like, 3 months, people are obviously going to give you, like, people are going to look at you. And so Randy, even though he believes he's the father of these children, he wants to actually be active in his kids' lives and actually goes to the appointments. You know, good for him. She, for whatever reason, is refusing. Obviously, she's like faking pregnancy, so there's no appointments. So he can't come to any of the appointments. And then apparently in March of 2015, she calls her family and says, look, I gave birth, but one of the twins died. So now we only got 1 kid left. So on the fateful day of April 6, 2015, Samantha is home with Rainey and Serenity when Geraldine knocks on the door. She's dressed professionally and claims she's a CPS worker, because obviously she has to pretend to be a CPS worker. So you can't just show up in regular ass clothes. You gotta show up looking presentable. And she claims that Samantha has a court hearing and that it would look better if you brought Serenity with you. So, of course, obviously wanting Stephen Jr. back because he still is under CPS custody, she willingly gets in the car with Geraldine, and apparently it has to like strap Serenity in because, like I said, Serenity was just born not even a month ago, so obviously you got to put her in the car seat. Randy apparently is like helping them like in the car seat because, you know, I imagine when you just gave birth, your body is obviously, you ain't really that energized, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do to get your child back. So then Randy apparently noticed that Geraldine's license plates were expired, which he thought that was kind of weird for a CPS worker. So he like made a mental note, memorized it, which good for him because that later came in use later. So then they drive to Geraldine's house in Gary, Indiana, and then Samantha unfortunately is stabbed like 50 times today. So then Geraldine then stabs Samantha 50 times and then puts her in a plastic bin, hides her in the closet, and now has Serenity is pretending this is her kid. So then she apparently texts Samantha's family friends, because obviously Samantha's dead at this point, but they don't know that. And Randy apparently had told them about the hearing, so she is texting them that the judge said that I'm not worthy of my kid, and that's it. Didn't say, oh, well, I'm going here, just said, that's it. So Randy, obviously he's suspicious. He's trying to report her missing like the same day, because something just don't feel right. And apparently he was told you can't report her missing yet because she's an adult. So he wasn't able to report her missing until like a whole ass 6 days later. And then apparently he tells them, here's the license plate, it's expired. Just thought that was suspicious for a CPS worker. They run it back. It goes back to not Geraldine, but apparently another couple. And so they were cleared of any involvement once they found out where they were at on April 4th. And so then apparently a neighbor would come out and say that he apparently had Geraldine in her little CPS worker suit asked which apartment Samantha lived in, and apparently he had told her, and then that same neighbor apparently overheard Geraldine tell Samantha she was with CPS, and then at one point police actually believed that Randy was involved, and that apparently just sent Geraldine as a cover. And so then the maintenance worker, because apparently it is known that Samantha is missing by this point, he finds Samantha's wallet in Gary and calls police. And then apparently, like I said, Samantha's mother got that call from Geraldine, but it was like kind of a block number. Well, apparently police were able to unblock the phone and found out it was Geraldine who called. So then Samantha's body is found in Geraldine's house a whole week later. They find Serenity safe. Apparently she was left with Geraldine's sister in Texas. Apparently, who didn't know Samantha genuinely apparently thought the baby was Geraldine's and would claim that Geraldine claimed the baby was hers before she up and left for Texas. And then apparently they find Geraldine's car because, like I said, Rainey had ran the license plate number, and apparently he was off by one number as to how it came back to that random couple who had nothing to do with this instead of Geraldine. You can't blame him because at least he thought about writing the number down, so you gotta give him props for that. And so Geraldine, they find her in a hospital, still in Texas, from apparently trying to commit suicide by overdose. So then Geraldine claims that, she made a post online, and if anybody want their child, like, I'll take them. And I'll even pay you for it. And she would claim that this house she met Samantha. And apparently they went to the house, but there was an argument that broke out because Samantha apparently wanted the money, like, she wanted all the money up front before she passed over the kid. She basically wanted all the money up front before she passed over Serenity. Just what she's claiming is how they met. And apparently it then got physical. And then basically Geraldine's claiming that she basically defended herself. It got out of hand, and that's how Samantha died. So then, of course, after she gets out of prison, after the little attempt, she gets charged with kidnapping, criminal confinement, and murder. She winds up getting sentenced to 40 years on manslaughter charges. So I guess she got a little plea deal. That's why you got manslaughter, even though she was charged with murder, and criminal confinement. So yeah, that is a case where you kind of have to be careful what's going on, because apparently people out here lying about being CPS workers to get your babies. At first, when I first heard this case, I thought it was one of those, like, another fetal abduction case. But it's not. So, but unfortunately, a woman who was trying to get her child back did die as a result because someone else couldn't have a kid. So, definitely note down below. If you know anybody involved in this case, whether it's Geraldine or Samantha, definitely let me know. If anybody knows where Samantha's kids are now, because it doesn't say whose custody they're under, definitely let me know. And so, with that being said, that's all I have for this case. I covered fatal females 3 times every Friday, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
So if I play dead, will you regret everything that you did, that you said? I don't think you understand what you're doing. and my heart's black and blue from the bruising. I feel like when I'm with you I'm losing. I feel like you think that this amusing, sitting there gaslighting and confusing. Was it me? Is it me? Am I deluded? I'm the one who's always sorry, the conclusion. Even though I offer all of the solutions, I wish you loved me like I love you. It's stupid when I'm alone with